Well, I think of all the pieces that we think about doing, and we think about doing things for a variety of reasons. There are pieces that nobody's heard of that we want to bring to our audience, and there are pieces that we know are old favorites that they love and that they want to see, and we want to bring to them in a way that they don't expect. But Fiddler is probably the most requested piece that we hear about. People asking, well, when are you going to do Fiddler, or are you going to do Fiddler? And my answer for a long time was, well, we can't do Fiddler. We can't possibly fit that show in that space. And in it being so requested and so talked about, constantly trying to find a way that we could fit this gigantic show into that little space. And so in that searching, I came up with a way that we could do it, and that's the production that we're doing.
The thing that really gets me is every time that violin gets played. Every time, it just gives me chills, because usually you're at the theater, there's an orchestra pit, you don't really even see that stuff. But here you are, and that stringed instrument is just right in front of you, and just you feel that sound come right off it and come right at you. And I just love those moments in the show where it's just so real. It's really right there in front of you, which you don't get. I mean, you can go to a theater and you've got this big stage and all these people on it, but you're removed from it in a sense. Where in our space, it's like you're kind of right there with it. You're part of it, which I really love that about the space.
Why talk about love right now?
Well, first day of rehearsal is always like the first day of school. Everybody's excited, nervous, and scared, but we're real excited. We're hoping to get through at least half the music today and kind of get a good handle. It's the first chance for me kind of just to discover everybody's voice. Like some of them I've worked with before, some of them I remember from auditions, but it's just a really good in-depth kind of discovering everything together. So. Go, na, 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 ah, 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 ah. Cool. So can I see the three daughters up close that do Matchmaker? We'll probably spend about 20-ish on this, and then we'll get everybody else back. I hope after this we'll do the stuff with everybody, and then we'll let the four youngest ones go. It's always making sure the production is FreeFall's production. It's our interpretation of it. We don't have a 20-piece band fitting in that small room, so it's the whole process is very organic. So it's making sure the sounds are of the time and making sure it's a small klezmer band, and a lot of the actors are playing instruments as well. So it feels like authentic to what they're doing. So they don't just pick up the clarinet. So it's making sure it works with their character, and making sure it's our own sound.
May the Lord protect and defend you. May He always shield you from shame. May you come to be in Israel a shining name.
There's a couple of things that I have going for me. One is that I am so very different. So in a kind of way, that's helpful because I'm starting from a different palette in a kind of way. And the other thing is I put a lot of faith in Eric. He is a fantastic director, and he gives you a world to play with.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
What I would like nothing better than was for people to come away talking about Fiddler in the ensemble, not me in Fiddler. You know what I'm saying? It should be that. You know what I mean? It's as much about the rest of them as anything else.
Well, we're in the middle of a huge show. So we've just started. They've learned a lot of the music. We would typically be really far along with the music on a show, like probably the whole score learned at this point by the third day or so. But with this show and how we're doing it and the actors being involved in the orchestra as well, there's a lot that's still kind of taking shape organically as we go along. Yeah, I think that things are coming along hand in hand a little bit more than they normally do, where we would normally get the music out of the way and then start working on the other aspects of the performances. The challenges that this show presents are just that we're asking the cast to do so many things and calling on so many of their talents and on talents that they don't already know they have. I mean, you know, when we did Bernarda Alba, the cast had to learn how to flamenco dance. So with this show, some of the cast has to learn puppetry that they've never done before and some other skills that they've never done. With being such a small cast, you know, we don't have a dance chorus that are dancers that are just dancing. So the cast of principals is being called on to do a lot of that other work that they normally wouldn't. So their best dance skills are being called on, their best musician skills, not only as singers, but as instrumentalists are being called on. So, yeah, there's a lot of challenges for the cast.
Of wonders, miracle of miracles, I was afraid that God would frown. Out of a worthless lump of clay, God has made a man today.
Today what we're doing is we're doing a read-through, so pretty much everyone's getting together and everyone's work is sort of coming together for the first time, and we're going through the whole script and all the music and just seeing what we have in its rawest form, all of us together as a group.
See that he's gentle, remember you were also a bride. It's not that I'm sentimental, it's just that I'm terrified.
It's always a strange but necessary thing for everyone. But for me, because I'm trying to remain like in the moment for scenes, but then I have to flip through, you know, to frantically find my next song or my next line. It's kind of a test of focus in a way, but it's totally vital, and it's just something we have to do.
What was most interesting for me was to hear what everyone else had been working on for, I'm assuming, a while now, especially the people that have so many lines, like David Mann, who that was amazing for me. It was extraordinary for me to watch him do that, especially because he's such an older actor and such a more accomplished actor. And to watch him do that was great, since he is the central part of the play.
It's great to hear who you're going to be with and what they're going to do and what they're going to give and bring to the table, so that you know, like, sort of what you're going to morph around with them.
Golda, darling, you remember yesterday I told you I didn't know where to go, what to do with these old bones? Well, now I know. You want to hear? I'll tell you. Golda, darling, all my life I've dreamed of going to one place, and now I'll walk, I'll crawl, I'll get there. Guess where? Now you'll never guess. Every year at Passover, not to be safe. Next year in Jerusalem. Next year in the Holy Land. You're going to the Holy Land? Oh, you guessed!
Everything so far, I think, has been quite different than the last. And even the way we use the space, the audience is always surprised when they come into the room. We've literally had audience members ask us, but where was the theater that I saw the last show in? Well, it was this theater, this room. No, I know we were at this theater, but which theater space? Like which which room, it was the same room, because they're so surprised at how different the room looks or feels or whatever. So yeah, I think that's a big part of what we do.
I play Mendel, the rabbi's son, and I am also the puppet master, and I designed and made all the puppets for the show.
You mean a butcher, grandma, by the name of Laser Wolf?
No! I mean a tailor, Tevya, my great-grandchild, my little title who you named for me. Model's bride was meant to be.
She's actually worn like a backpack, and there's a headgear in there that controls the head, so the puppeteer wears it like a backpack, which is probably going to be me. Can operate her arms, and then you wear it like you wear the headgear, and when you turn the head will move on its own. The chicken is probably the least done of everything here, but functionally it's pretty close. It's pretty simple. It just rolls and it'll peck. There'll be a trigger that will bring the wings up and down also, so that when they're down it'll look just normal, like it's closed, and then we can give it a little bit of flapping movement also, but that way it can roll back and forth and it can peck the ground. And that's great. Yeah.
There are others in our village. They make a much bigger circle. His honor the priest, his honor the constable, and his honor many others. We don't bother them so far.
I really wanted to stay away from using like screws and bolts and stuff like that with this. So it's literally all made with wooden dowels and twine and string, and we basically just built a skeleton. So it has a ribbing for the body. There'll be a handle here. Today sort of figured out if it actually does what it does in my head.
So there's sort of a bit of a leap of faith that occurs with, yeah, we think we can do this with this few people. And so then it becomes a lot about those other devices that you've referred to with the puppets and the actor-musicians. And these are all things that just constantly remind the audience that we're all just telling a story. And when we let the audience sort of in on the joke a bit and in on the process, and we're not trying to make them constantly think that, oh, well, this is happening, then we can get away with a lot more, like having characters turning on a dime and, you know, props being carried out in view of the audience, and, you know, doing scenes in the midst of an orchestra that's all set up around the stage. So the more we admit to the audience and remind the audience that we're just telling a story, the more license it gives us to break those rules and to keep telling the story in new and interesting ways.